Hey, it's Jose here with swagacademy.com. And if you're a single dad recently, or maybe you have been for some time now, this video is for you. I want to impart to you a little bit of advice from my own experience because I was a single dad right in my mid 30s, coming off a long-term relationship. I had 3 kids and I was a single dad for about 6 years. And I dated a bit and I had 1 or 2 not so serious relationships, but it was 6 years before I had my first real serious committed relationship with my fiance that I'm now with. And I want to give you a little bit of advice and take it, like I said, with a grain of salt. But these are 4 very valuable tips that I, thinking back on my own experience, I think are going to be beneficial to you. So number 1 is I would highly recommend that you date single women without kids. And that's no knock on single moms whatsoever. It's ironically, I'm with a single mom right now, so absolutely nothing against them, but there's a good experience and learning process in dating somebody that doesn't have any kids. And I was thinking back, I could think of specifically 3 women that I dated. I even remember their names, who were just so kind and generous. Not only to me, I think one of them met my kids. The other 2 didn't, but they were just very understanding of my time and my commitment to my children, and would have been prepared to step into the stepmom role had we gotten more serious. But all in all, they were just very nurturing women, even though they didn't have kids of their own, and they were already, up there in same thing, their mid 30s. I think one of them was early 40s, but anyway, highly recommend that you do, because they're just very caring women that will devote more time and attention to you, and that'll help with your personal growth and even some of your healing and other benefits that, whether you actually end up with them or not is going to be up to you. But I highly recommend that you at least try it. Don't rule them out. Don't think that only a single mom is going to understand you or understand what you're going through, because that is definitely not the case. Second tip is don't mix your dad life with your dating life. This is a huge one for me, because even having been a kid myself when my parents divorced, and seeing a bunch of other kids that get dragged into these, step-parent relationships a little bit too soon. And I'm not against them. I am a step-parent and I had step-parents, but I would just encourage you not to rush them, and just, unless the relationship is very serious and committed and you're going to stay with this person, if you're just dating, don't introduce them to your kids and vice versa. It's just going to cause more confusion for the kids, especially when they're younger, and just more headaches and problems with the ex and things like that you just want to avoid. So separate those 2 things and avoid yourself the hassle and the headache, and you'll see why as you begin to separate those things. The third piece of advice I have for you is to leverage your DILF status, if you want to call it that. I don't know if that's a politically correct term or not, but I think you know what I'm saying, right? Women tend to have a tendency to be attracted to single dads for many reasons. We're not going to get into this video, but I think it's common knowledge, and you need to use that to your advantage and leverage that, because it is a competitive game out there, and women do gravitate towards men who are more established and mature. And one of the primary things is being able to demonstrate that you can commit to a family unit, or providing or being a leader or a role model to a family unit, especially if you are dating a single mom and you may need to be stepping into a step-parent role. So very important that you use that to your advantage and leverage it in your favor if you are kind of gunning for a woman and there may be competition. And then my 4th and final piece of advice for you is to build your identity outside of fatherhood. And again, this is no knock on being a dad, because I think all of us dads would agree that it's the most fulfilling and rewarding role that we can have in our life. But it also limits us sometimes in our thinking and how we act in our daily life, because we're limited to just being a dad, being so-and-so's dad. And the moment you start exploring your identity outside of that, you start learning so many cool things about yourself that you're capable of and that you're good at, and other ways that you can serve people and serve the world, other than being a dad. And that's a good thing. So that's something I encourage you to do is, if you have access time with your kids, whenever you don't, do things that interest you, hobbies, go play some sports, you know, um, take up some dancing lessons, whatever it is. Get out there and meet people, sharpen your skills, you know, whatever it is that you want to do to build yourself and sort of find that identity outside of just being a dad. It's going to be beneficial to you in the long run because people are going to see you more than, especially women. They're going to see not only that you're a great dad when you do have to be in that role, but when you're outside of it, that you're not lost. You know what I mean? Like you have another identity outside of that, and that you can also be, a successful businessman, or you can be, a great so-and-so. And that is, like I said, a really good thing. I actually have a module on that at swagacademy.com, which is being a man of many talents. And it's something that, again, women gravitate towards when you are able to have multiple skill sets. So I'm going to leave you with that. Those are 4 quick little tips, a little bit of advice for single dads. For more great tips and advice, visit swagacademy.com for single dads. That's the place to be. So that being said, I'll see you in the next video.